We already talked about it, the less drugs kids use, the more focused they are. Ultimately, the stronger our community is. These are the next generation of leaders. And I've been working with students for at least 15 years now. My background's in outdoor education. I say this maybe selfishly because I have my own little ones at home, but it's also a real truth. When I see the kids today in schools, I really do think that this generation that we're raising is the next greatest generation. My grandfather was part of the great generation. I really think these kids, they're super intelligent, they're really well connected. They're going to be solving a lot of problems that need to be solved and addressing a lot of issues that need to be addressed. So I'm really putting a lot of high expectations on them, but I also think they're going to deliver. I think it's the next greatest generation. And I'm not suggesting that we keep kids in the dark when we shoot for this 90%. I'm suggesting that we educate them, we have a lot of conversations. I'm suggesting that we all be responsible. How early is too young to start talking to your kids about drugs and alcohol? I'll tell you, research says about 9. The idea is that you front load information for the students so that when they do get exposed or see something, they don't get this deer in the headlights, kind of prone to peer pressure type of response. You want to give them some information. Personally, and this is for me and my kids, I think 4 is about right. I absolutely love caffeine. And in fact, it's a highly addictive, psychoactive drug. So why not talk about it? And sugar, which I think is the true gateway drug. If it's not this. I'm going to pick on sugar for a moment because it's everywhere. In our high fats, high sugar diet, we bring it out on our first year celebration. It starts to teach kids that pleasure can be found outside of us through intaking stuff into our body. I will point this out too. Some research and doctors do say there's perhaps some correlation to a heroin-like addiction with sugar. Whether or not this is true is not really my point. My point is this, it teaches kids that pleasure can come from outside of us. It doesn't teach us about the internal power that we all have to regulate our emotions and to control our beliefs. And that's why I say sugar is like a gateway drug. I asked Penelope, my 4-year-old, if she wants a sip of my coffee, and right now she says no. And I say, that's great. You are growing so much every day. We measure it on the wall. Your brain is in this crazy space right now where it's growing, and expanding, and she's nodding her head, And I tell her how, sometimes things like coffee and other substances just aren't good for us. And she goes, and she gets it, at a very 4-year-old level. And when I start drinking around her and when she sees new things, this conversation evolves over time. And yet the foundation is established at 4.